My name is Michael, and I live in Avon, North Carolina. That's the Outer Banks. We've been down there and even ministered a number of times. Bill's been there and there a lot. He knows what we're talking about. And he said that I fell into trouble, and he said I got into really, really hard drugs. And he talked about how his life had been a wreck. He didn't even want to live anymore, and it was just really horrible. And he said, then this man named Cody Harris came up to me. And he said he told me I didn't have to live like that, and he told me all about Jesus. And he said that his life has completely changed. But there's something else to that story. Because on the night that Cody got saved, there was one of our pastors was sitting in the back of that church listening to One Accord practice. And Cody had just showed up for some kind of he was a wild, drugging surfer. He was about as wild as anybody could be, but he showed up for a dinner that night, a free dinner. When all the other surfers got up and left, he said that he came walking in the sanctuary where they were practicing. He said, I don't know why, but I don't feel like I can leave right now. I just need to sit in here and listen. So he was sitting on a pew about where Patricia's at. Clifton Bowley was all the way in the back. And he was in such pain that night that he said he couldn't hardly even stand. His kidneys had pretty much failed, and they were hurting so bad. And he said that he was pretty much doubled over in pain. And of course, when God spoke to him, he spoke to him with the Lynch Station dialect. He told him, said, what are you doing back here, boy? Get up and go to war. That's what he said. So Clifton got up and walked up to Cody, who was sitting right there. And he'd never seen Clifton in all of his life. And you got to understand, Clifton was about as subtle as a barn door. And he stood right there in front of him and told him all about his sins and his life. And he turned white as a sheet. Like, who are you and how do you know that? You know, of course, Clifton always said, God knows, and he told me. And he looked at him and he said, and you know what? You need Jesus, don't you, boy? I heard him real loud. And he started getting quiet in there, and he looked up and he started crying. He said, yeah, I do. He said, well, I ain't going to make it easy for you. Get up out of that pew and get up out of that altar and get on your knees right now. And he said, yes, sir. And he goes up there and he's just wailing and crying, and his girlfriend is up there wailing and crying. And Clifton walks over and he motions to us. He said, y'all get down here and lead them to the Lord. I've done what I'm supposed to do. And he goes outside going around the building, hooping and hollering and shouting. And some of the people in the church said, what in the world is outside going on? Or what's going on out there? And I said, don't pay no attention to it. It's just Clifton. And we led them to the Lord. And his life, Cody's life, got completely turned around. And that is why that boy named Michael wrote on the internet about his life getting changed. And it was because Clifton was faithful. That's what the message, the little short message that I'm giving to anybody that serves the Lord is not be fancy, not be clever or anything. Be faithful. If God calls you to serve him, don't let nothing stop you from doing it, no matter what's going on. Amen. You be faithful to serve God, and you will read a story like that on the internet too because of what you did.